race at Phoenix. Sorry for the delay. I got off of work late, and then after I got off of work late, I ended up having to pump some gas. I was spending the last 40 minutes or so eating, essentially, is what I was doing. I was catching up on my meal. I actually missed lunch earlier today, too, so I had to get the food in me before the start of the stream, but we are live now. Welcome to tonight's coverage of NASCAR 08 on the channel. Cup Series edition this time around. And it is a quick race, 50% race, our third out of 4 on the season for the Subway Fresh Fit, what will be 250 here today. 156 laps, so it's about the length of a truck race for tonight. I don't know if it's going to be a 1 or a 2-stop race, but we'll have to just wait and see, I guess. Let's just get into this one. We're starting at the back, no practice, no qualifying, didn't have enough time for that. So we're going to just hope that I have the best setup possible for this race. This is a Car of Tomorrow race, our third one of the season, and our first since Martinsville. Green flag is in the air, and we are underway. Already picking up a bunch of spots on the initial start. Oh, boy. Don't wreck. I just wrecked Tony Stewart. I'm so sorry, Tony. I buried it into the corner way too much, and I had no grip. I wiggled so much there. I don't know if it's because I clipped the yellow line or not. That was so strange. TV is muted? My TV isn't muted. But the gameplay audio was. There we go. It was muted on OBS. Thank you for that, by the way, in the chat. Didn't hear the carnage from that first incident. Can't pit for fuel or tires because we caused the incident. Obviously, we're not going to be using all 5 sets of tires in this race either.
Nobody else tried to come in.
Sim the whole season or something. Talk about like Vegas for the trucks. Yeah, I don't know why this game has Vegas for the truck series that early. I thought they raced there more towards the like late summer, fall back in the day. Man, yeah, this car's way too loose for me. Either that or I have to find a way to try to carry more speed into the corner. I'm struggling. No practice of qualifying's killing me. We had quite a bit of grip in the first 2 Car of Tomorrow races. I definitely had less at Martinsville than I did at Bristol. But I am having a difficult time with this race car. We kept our top 10 streak alive late yesterday at Texas. Ran all 500 miles of that event. This car is loose as a goose. I feel like I'm about redlining down the straightaways, too. Kind of scared I might blow a motor, honestly. That sounds... I mean, those are some high rev limits. Vegas is race 17. I swear it was Las Vegas was the next race when we ended the last truck schedule. Unless I'm wrong, but I'd have to go back into the last stream, I guess. Well, I don't even know if I showed it on the last stream or not. I really hope the engine lasts the whole race, honestly. Excuse me. I didn't think that, that was going to be an issue at all. I haven't really had any other tracks in any other series that I've raced where it feels like I'm redlining at the end of the straightaway like I am right now. It's honestly giving me flashbacks of NASCAR Thunder 2004 on a career mode. When I blew a motor at Michigan and Fontana, I always had problems there. I'm trying to get out of the gas a little earlier into the corner to keep from redlining, but I mean, it's tough. Like, I'm starting to redline like 2/3 of the way down the backstretch, right when I get out of the dog leg. That's where it's pretty rough. Oh, we'll contact back behind us. Even on the front stretch, just past the start-finish line. I definitely don't have the right gearing. It's got to be slowing me down on the straightaway so much. It's almost like I'm saving gas how early I'm having to get out of the throttle, getting into the corner, just to try to make sure I'm not going to blow a motor. I'm honestly scared for it. We're only on lap 13. I just feel like I'm just stressing the heck out of this engine every single straightaway. And I'm really trying to back it up, and I still feel like I'm stressing it. It's hard to make passes, though, at the same time when I'm not pushing 100%. Jimmy Johnson leading. He's coming in off a win at Texas yesterday. He was the driver who got his first victory of the season. A little wiggle. It's so easy for me to kind of mess up in the braking zone quite a bit. It's got bottleneck there. I ran into the back of the car in front of me, and then Waltrip hit me from behind. Stacked up a bit off of turn 4. That'll help us make a couple passes. Got by J.J. Yaley and Tony Raines. Raines had a top 10 yesterday at Texas, too. Up to 23rd here for Casey. Oh! Hit the inside wall. Shifted right up into Jamie Mack. Could have been worse. We're all right. I do think I have a quick car if the engine lasts the whole race. I mean, we had the quickest car in the field when we ran the Busch race at Phoenix a couple weeks ago. So it's not really surprising me that we're good in the Cup car, too, even though it's technically a different car with this being the Gen 5 rather than the Gen 4. Yeah, Wade Billy Kramer, The Republic, thanks for tuning in tonight. There might have been somebody else in the chat before the start of the stream. Let me pause it for a quick second so I can... Whoa, clicked on something. Nope, that's it. Never mind. Wanted to make sure I was shouting out everybody out. Ah, I messed that corner up so bad. That's what I get for pausing it. I was just trying to look at the chat. I was doing the right thing, game. The morally right thing. Yeah, this is car tomorrow race. AKA Gen 5. Michael Turner, thanks for tuning in also. Yeah, Jeff Gordon won this race in real life. Dominating fashion. This was actually the same race he tied Dale Earnhardt Sr. for most wins, or not most wins, but on the all-time win list. career win number 76 for Gordon. So we'll see if Jeff Gordon actually wins this race here. My tires are going to be shot by the end of a stint. Just because of how loose this car is. I feel like I'm driving on ice when I'm trying to brake going into the corner. Like right there. I'm trying different things on a regular basis. I'm trying to lift early. I'm trying to drive it in deep. I'm trying to not use as much brake and just kind of roll out of the gas. And I feel like I'm having a hard time trying to find the consistency in what is the right thing to do. Because I'm having a little bit of success at times with everything. It's probably just like a certain speed point I have to hit going into the corner. That time I locked the brakes up going into one. Actually kind of helped through the middle of the corner, but start doing that, I'm going to start burning the front tires up as well as the rear. Race 3 fingers. Well, we're a little bit past lap 3. Up to 13, just past Paul Menard. AJ Allmendinger. Inside of Scott Riggs, our teammate. Oh, man. Telling you, I cannot clear this cough. Just sneaks up on me every once in a while. I will say this is... My throat's probably felt the best today. And if you... I mean, it's probably been a good 3 weeks or so. Three wide underneath the Bush brothers. John Wood was going to try to block me. He's not giving me a lot of room. I was on the curb and he was hitting me. Like, what was I supposed to do there? Cut by Brian Vickers, too. Up to 7th, baby. We're moving. Vickers just overdrove the corner. Kyle Busch might get underneath him now. Clint Boyer looking for redemption following blowing an engine yesterday, competing for the win in the final 30 laps at Texas. Might have been the one to beat. Then it looked like Bobby Labonte was going to be the one to beat. And then he got passed late by Johnson in the final couple laps of the race. Casey Kane trying to go back to victory lane for the first time since Bristol. Only 3 races ago, so it's not like it's been a long time since we've won in the Cup Series. Boyer squeezing us too. Casey gets by. Mike Wallace off to a good start again. He tends to qualify well. Same for Jeff Green. Oh boy. Way better mid-corner speed than I was expecting. Then I just doored him out of the way into one also. Bullying Mike Wallace. Ay, ay, ay. I tried to keep it from wiggling that time, and I just kind of let it float up the track behind Jeff Green. It actually kind of worked because I got a good drive off. Kind of getting that that cut right in the middle of the corner by basically entering low, going high in the middle. Diamond cutting it off, getting the low exit. And this is about how it was at Texas late yesterday. Johnson, Earnhardt, Casey Kane. Each of these three finished inside the top 4, and the top 2 are in the same order they finished yesterday as well. All the way on the apron, trying to get underneath Earnhardt. A little contact. Pushing hard. Trying to make the pass. Dale Jr.'s car bottoming out in the middle of 1 and 2. Now it's 3 and 4. A little contact again. Pass is complete. We get to the lead, we might be able to pull away. Looking under Johnson. Johnson blocks. He's led the most laps in the early going of the race. I didn't really pay attention to see who qualified on the pole. Johnson might have led every lap so far, but done a pretty good job getting this far. Still skirting the tires, though. We're good at this point. I just gotta... Oh, I'm sorry, Jimmy. Got him. Got him. .616 is our fastest lap so far. Trying to think back on the prior EA games we played, and I don't know if that's a really, really fast lap time or not. This game, I mean, you can run some quick laps in this game. We were running high 27s at Texas yesterday, and I didn't even have the fastest car. Like, that's just insane. The speed difference in this game in the Cup Series. I mean, even the Busch Series, to a certain extent, I feel like trucks, when we were at Martinsville, we were clicking away some pretty good lap times on the shorter tracks of the Truck Series. Springfield, Missouri, expecting 14 inches. Man. I think I remember you saying something yesterday about you were expected to get quite a bit of snow. Oof. One of the few times we've hit the wall. I actually think that might have been the first time I hit the outside wall. I think the last time I got against the wall was the inside wall when I tried to make a pass for position in the middle of the pack. Still don't know what we're looking like on fuel. Back in the corners up as much as I am, trying to keep the car from redlining on the straightaways as much as I can to save the engine. I would imagine it's saving us a little bit of fuel. So maybe this could be a one-stop race. I mean, if we could go 40 laps before getting to halfway out of gas, this is definitely going to be a one-stopper then. Because 80 and 80 is 160. Which makes it easier for us because our picker is very hit or miss. And I feel like more often than not, they're slow. It cost us the lead a couple times at Texas yesterday, and it took us a while to get it back. That's why we only led 2 different times that entire race. Despite leading the most laps in the race, which was 132 out of 334. Got the most laps led by about 20 laps over Bobby Labonte. I was loose like 2/3 of the way through that corner. Didn't skirt the tires much, though. We're slightly pulling away from Johnson, who still sits in second for the time being. Kind of fluctuating between 7 and 9/10 of a second ahead of him. That was a big-time moment there. I'm still kind of keeping my speed up compared to everybody else, even with the slight wiggles it has from time to time. But I know I'm going to start giving up a lot of time if the tires really start to eat away. Alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the race today. Going to Talladega tomorrow. And that will be a full 100% race. Which is not something I do very often middle of the week. But when I saw Talladega was next on the schedule, and I knew it was the 9th race of the season anyway, but I was like, I don't want to wait. You know, especially if I end up having to work overtime again this weekend. It'd be tough to get it in on Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday I couldn't do it. I didn't want to wait all the way till Monday. Usually the only time I do cup races during the week is if it's like a really short race. Kind of like this. Or if we had a 50% race on the schedule. Went almost 43 laps entirely before we hit halfway out of gas. So we're definitely pacing well on fuel with where we're at right now to make it a one stop. And I almost wonder if we have to keep kind of backing up the corner entry, not only to save the engine, but to also manage the fuel. If I tried to push harder, thinking that, okay, yeah, the engine's probably going to be fine, would I be burning more fuel on the back end of this run and end up not being able to make it on one stop? I don't want to risk that. If things are going too good right now, even running as hard as I am right now, which really feels like 70-80%, even if the car is a bit slippery. Like right there. Getting into turn 3. Derek Booth, welcome back to the stream. Yeah, you did end up scoring the most points at Daytona this week. It's a good start. Good luck to you. It was a very low-scoring week. Anytime you have less than 200 points winning it, it's a pretty low-scoring week. Obviously, after the first week anyway, the standings are probably going to be pretty tight anyways, from top to bottom, but especially with it being a low-scoring week. Really get through Talladega, and that's when you'll really know who's going to be in the fight for that regular season championship. Lantern prediction video? No, I haven't done prediction videos since I first started the channel. The reason why I don't do them anymore is because I do the live commentary stream, so I just go live a half hour early before the race for my prediction side of things. Yeah, the only videos I plan on uploading would be at track videos or highlights of the commentary. Maybe if something like just weird happens in a gaming stream every so often, maybe I'll put a quick clip up, but those are the only videos you can really ever expect on the channel. Everything else I try to keep live stream based. I just like doing this more. Engaging with the audience live. Talking NASCAR. Oh boy. I do expect more of the same at Atlanta next week, though, with Penske dominating. Penske seemed like, even in the next-gen era, they've been better at the newer Atlanta than what they've been even at a Daytona or Talladega. So them being as good as they were at Daytona and having Atlanta the next week, I think it's going to look a lot like the fall race at Atlanta last year, where they just, I mean, they dominated and they did get the win. They were first and second in each of the first two stages, and I think they were first and third in the finish, if I remember correctly. Might have been first and second with Logano, Blaney. I think Blaney might have ended up third, though. He was second in the first race there. Blaney seems to get better finishes at Atlanta than Joey Logano. So that's why I favored Blaney there the last couple times. And I feel like I pick Logano more often at like a Talladega or a Daytona. Like I did this weekend, I took Joey Logano, and Logano did have the quickest car. I just feel like he gets into accidents even more so at an Atlanta for some reason these last couple of years. He's either wrecking or he's winning. He's won 2 of them, and he's probably wrecked in each of the other ones. I'd have to go back to fact check myself on that. I haven't looked at any stats for the weekend yet. Usually don't do that anyway until we get to like Thursday, Friday, and then I start getting my notes for the weekend. Take a couple days off while I'm at work all day during the week. Ay, ay, ay. I just can't get over how loose it is on corner entry. I'm not trying to drive down onto the apron. So I do feel like the apron on these flatter tracks, you can't get away with it as much in this game compared to what I was in NASCAR 07. NASCAR 07, I could kind of ride down there on all the flat tracks, and that's what helped make me as good as I was on the flatter tracks, and we would dominate more often than not. But this game, I can't drive down there for a long period of time. Doesn't help that we're past halfway through the fuel run, so the tires are just getting worse and worse and worse. They're already not great at the start just because of my lack of grip. I'm going to try to tighten it up a little bit more when we get to our pit stop. Going to try to put another round of wedge into it, see if that helps. It's going to be the only stop of the day, so as long as I don't go in the wrong direction. That would be the gamble of making an adjustment like that, especially when we already have the lead, but I know this thing could be better. David, thanks for tuning in. What do you get if you win the league? If you win the regular season or playoff championship in the fantasy league, then you get 2 tickets to any NASCAR race if you're choosing the following season. Excluding the Daytona 500. Just because those tickets are pretty expensive. And I'm buying them, so that's the only reason that I stay away from them. But every other track pretty much is pretty affordable. I mean, Daytona is affordable if you pick the right seat, but I try to... The last couple years, obviously, we've done it. This is the 3rd year we've done it now. But the first 2 years, I do try to give you guys some good seats. I don't want to, excuse me, stick you in the like cheapest seats I could buy. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna stick you in the seats that I would buy if I was going. Not that there's a bad seat at a lot of these tracks anyway, but I've always been a fan of sitting at least high enough that I can see the entire track. Especially if you go to like a shorter track, you can kind of get away with seeing the whole track from closer up anyway. Under caution, I don't know if we're inside the fuel window or not. I don't think we are. It's our first caution, second caution, sorry. We actually had a yellow on lap 1. So second caution of the race. Looks like debris bringing this one out. And it's debris off of Kyle Busch's car. I believe his front bumper had fallen off. I'm going to stay out of the pits. We're leading, so we have to hope that everybody else stayed out. All right. Got to be careful restarting on old tires on this game, because I've slid the tires on restarts before. Actually, was not bad at all that time. I'll take that. And our 2-second lead is gone. Want to return to Dega this spring. It's not going to happen. Yeah, I mean, I'm still planning on going to Dega in the spring. The only thing with that, I might not be there on Saturday like I initially planned, and that's only because of how good the ARCA did for me. And now we got another yellow. Going in a little hot. I was out of the gas. I just happened to slide right in the middle of the corner. And then somebody behind me didn't realize there was a caution, decided to hit me. It's Kyle Busch again. It was probably his hood this time. Yep, there it goes. Back-to-back debris cautions for Busch. Yeah, I'm still staying out. I don't want to pit until we're halfway. We're closer to the fuel window now, but... All right. When do I leave for Coda? Not sure. Man. I haven't taken a drink this whole stream. That probably hasn't helped. Actually, the water that's sitting next to me was from last night when I went to bed, so I'm trying to avoid drinking it. I didn't get one before the start of the stream. Hopefully, I'm not coughing too loud into the mic. I'll try to be sure to mute it next time if I catch it. Mute the mic. Ugh. It just sounds disgusting. I don't want you guys to have to listen to that. Barely clear off turn 2 there. Is that Denny Hamlin up to second? Looks like it. Can't tell if that's a FedEx car or not. It looks like his car, though. Must have had a couple of good restarts. I'm also trying to figure out where Kyle Busch would have gotten his debris caution. There must have been something that happened on track. Caused him to get some damage. We have not had a caution-free cup race at all this season. 50% or 100%. Through the first now 8 races. Went over 200 laps caution-free at Texas yesterday, and then ended up having, what, 5 yellows before the end of it? And here tonight now we've had 3 cautions. Dad got a discount for tickets for Dega. Just kind of let it float up the racetrack. I'm trying to get better at doing that when there's nobody around me. In this race, in particular. Just because I don't have a lot of pressure directly behind me. We had quite a few cautions in the Martinsville race. I'm scared if we get a late race restart, we're going to get knocked out of the way. Because that's how I lost Martinsville, even though I dominated. A late race restart, Bobby Labonte knocked me out of the way and didn't have a chance to get back to him. All that smoke you see was probably for me. We got another caution. Why are these guys not checking up under caution? Every time we go to yellow, I get hit from behind. I guess I gotta just start carrying the same speed I was going into the corner anyway and just ignore the caution. One of these times I'm gonna be behind somebody and then I'm gonna run into them. Debris off Kurt Busch, so both Busch brothers have had debris. Yeah, I'm definitely pitting now. We're close enough. We might have been a little bit past halfway. I wasn't really paying attention what lap we were on. We were just shy of halfway when the caution came out. Oh, God, I got to make sure I'm taking fuel. That was close. Taking fuel. And I'm going to put two rounds of wedge into the car. Apparently, I didn't have any wedge. I swear I had 2 rounds of wedge when we started the race. I also thought that the air pressure was down to 21. Maybe that's why I'm so loose. Oh, Jackman just fell over. The Jackman has fallen. It's going to be a slow stop. Got other cars in the pits as well.
Those cars up in front did fit.
I remember playing NASCAR 07, took a splash. Maybe at the end. I would imagine you mean that you took just like a splash of fuel and you came out at the back or something? That's tough. Yeah, they mess that up sometimes too, somehow. All right. Surprisingly, I didn't lose more positions. Yeah, I got to mute the mic. I was trying to go as long as I could there without. That's better. I had to pause there for a second. I was trying to give myself a little bit of quite literal breathing room. I might have to get a water at some point. If I start to get that tickle in my throat again, I'm definitely gonna get a water. I have water right next to me. I'm not drinking that. There's no cap on it. It's just been sitting there since last night when I went to bed. There's probably floaties in it. I had a tough time trying to get by Vickers, man. He just accelerates off the exit of the corner with so much speed. I like the adjustment I made, though. Tight up. Well, it felt fine until I tried to back the corner up, and then it slid again. The air pressure's up, too. I had the air pressure set lower, at least I thought I did, at the start of the race. I also thought I had more wedge in the car. It looked like I didn't have any wedge when I started. that last pit stop. Already ran a quicker lap time than I had earlier, so went the right way with the setup. Denny Hamlin's back in third again behind us. Probably spit in it. No. Why would I spit in my water? There's definitely dust. There's got to be like dust and stuff just in there. Just from having it out all night. If I ever go to bed with water, I don't even drink it like the next day. The hell? I was trying to fit. Somebody sent me a picture. I was trying to figure out what the heck I was looking at. Stanley Cup. I don't know why you're so big on the Stanley Cups. I feel like the only people that drink Stanley Cups are like 20-year-old girls. I don't know. I feel like I see them drinking out of Stanley Cups all the time. My sister's big on those. I remember seeing a Saturday Night Live skit a while back. It was basically those. They were just calling them a big dumb cup. Yeah, I probably have a little backwash in it, I'm sure. At least it's my own. Ugh. I'll tell you what, Brian Vickers has some speed. I passed him initially on the restart, and then he got right back around us. How is Kyle Busch up to third? Look at that car in our rearview mirror. His car is just totaled right now. We've had 5 cautions in the first 92 laps of this race. Casey trying to back the corner up, maybe get a run through the middle and have a chance to make a pass on Vickers for good this time. Get to the inside. Can we beat him into turn 1 is going to be the next question. Still got the advantage on the bottom. Not quite clear. Yep, now we're clear. Now we're clear off turn 2. Block the bottom, try to keep him from crossing us over, and hopefully we can start to pull away now. Cannot get over how Kyle Busch is in third. Or he's about to lose third to Denny Hamlin. Hamlin was in second for a while there just before we had pit stops. He lost a spot. 2 of them, actually. Well, no, he was in second. I lost 2 spots. I fell to third. And I don't know where Vickers came from. I have no idea where he was running. Honestly, outside of Hamlin, Johnson, and Earnhardt towards the front of the field, I don't know where anybody was running. Little wall scrape. Not bad. Not Matt DiBenedetto. Thanks for tuning in. I like that you had to clarify that you're not Matt DiBenedetto. Like somebody might have mistaken you for being Matt DiBenedetto at one point. At least they let Kyle back on track this time. That's hilarious. That keeps ourselves up with modern times. Even with a classic NASCAR video game. That's hilarious. Almost 100 laps in. Hairy hippo? I have no clue what that is. Talking like an actual hairy hippo? Like the animal? Is that something that I can find on the Urban Dictionary is the next question. Because if that's where I have to find what the definition of a hairy hippo is, then I'm good not knowing. I can go the rest of my life not knowing what a hairy hippo means. You'd send it to me. I don't know if I'm gonna look at it. Lap 100 out of 156 at the line. Chipping away on the laps. Yeah, I'm definitely not opening that. That's you know, that's all right. You don't have to send me that. I don't plan on looking at that. I definitely feel more gripped up in the middle of the corner because there was times where I would kind of start the slide and then it would straighten out in the middle, where before we had the pit stop, and made the adjustment change, I would slide going in and it would take me quite a ways through the corner before I felt like I had enough grip to really start to put the hammer down. I'm able to do that a lot sooner now. And I don't feel like I'm redlining as much either, with the tighter setup for whatever reason. Slowly extending that lead. Now it's about 8 to 9 tenths of a second out ahead. Surprisingly, this whole race, despite the fact that we're probably going to go on to lead the most laps if we don't get passed, we're definitely going to lead the most laps, obviously, if we don't get passed in these final 50 laps. But at the same time, our largest lead's only been 2 seconds. So we're definitely not obliterating the field by any means. I definitely could still make some adjustments. I would definitely mess with the air pressure next. And then maybe try to adjust the wedge a little bit more also after the fact if I had enough pit stops. If this was a full race, it would probably be a 3 or 4 stopper. I would have been able to make more than one adjustment to this car to try to fix it, because I didn't practice or qualify before the race, so I just kind of winged it coming in, and definitely didn't have the right car, but we made the right fine-tune adjustments to it now. It's quicker. We've been running quicker laps at times than what I was able to run earlier. I can just get back to the gas sooner is the big thing. I'm still struggling on corner entry, but I'm able to really get back into the gas and full throttle a lot sooner than I was, and still have the grip to make the exit of the corner without pushing wide. And if I do, I just kind of let it go like I did right there and stand on the gas. Not having to worry about the engine as much because I'm really not redlining like I was earlier. So we fixed a lot, even just putting the 2 rounds of wedge into the car, actually. 46 to go. Honestly, the way the cautions have fallen, I doubt this is going to go green to the end of the race either. 5 yellows and 111 laps so far. They were all in the first 90. That was a clean corner right there. All the way through it. This is going to be a great lap. Oh. I thought that was going to be my quickest, honestly, or at least compete for it. That was perfect through 1 and 2 right there also. If I could do that again through 3 and 4. Ah. Too good to be true. Even with the power slide, I still put up a quicker lap. I don't know how I did that. Not going to try to do it that way again. Got a 1 second lead, 26.087. That smoke was for me, by the way. There's no way it wasn't. That felt like a pretty big power slide. Caught the car a little quicker into the corner that time. That time I was just a little too high up out of the groove. Still reaching 10,000 RPM. Next time at Phoenix, adjust the gear ratio, yeah. That'd kind of mess with the air pressure a little bit more. Obviously, we'll be back at Phoenix for the chase late in the season. Excuse me. All right, so we just clinched the most laps led, and we still got a little ways to go yet. A little less than 40 laps remain at Phoenix in tonight's race. Yeah, it's not redlining as bad as it was. Like, I legitimately had to get out of the gas early into the corners because I was scared it was going to blow earlier. I'm not scared about it right now because I don't really think I'm pushing it all that hard. Nowhere near like I was. Need a water, come on, man. I'll get my water as soon as the stream's done. I know how long the refrigerator can be sometimes. And sometimes, depending on like when the ice resets, it takes like a good 2 minutes to fill my cup up. I didn't want to step away that long knowing that there's like less than 20 minutes left of the race. We're pretty close to the finish. If it was urgent, I definitely would have gotten up and gotten one by now. That was my fault for not being prepared and bringing it up with me. It didn't help, too. I ate before I started the stream. Like, I literally just got done eating right before I started the stream. So I didn't really wash it down either, so that probably doesn't help. Yeah, halfway out of gas. Shouldn't be an issue there. Less than 40 to go. We pitted... Well, we restarted at lap 80, but then we had another caution after that. And now we're at where we're at. No, my room's upstairs. I've literally been upstairs. I'm trying to think about this, because when I was in my apartment, I was upstairs. My bedroom's been upstairs for a long time. Even the last, like, 3 houses. Well, 2 houses and, like, a condo area that we lived. And then the apartment I lived in through last year and the year before that. Yeah, that was all... I'm trying to think the last time I've even slept downstairs. I guess the very first house my parents lived in, I think they rented. That was all downstairs. It was just a 1-story small house. And I think that's the last time I've had like a bedroom or anything like that on the first floor. We all think of Ryan Preece's crash and what can cars prevent from flipping. So like, even if there wasn't a flat underbody, Ryan Preece was going to flip with the front end of the car up off the ground. But we have had issues with the underbody getting caught on like intermediate tracks on the front stretch. How like Reddick flipped at Vegas last year, essentially. Chris Buescher back at Charlotte in 2022. So that would probably help those instances. And I feel like if there was a way to take the flat underbody off the car too, it would raise the cars up off the ground a little more, and it would give the cars even less grip, which I think would equate to probably better racing. So I like the fix for that reason, but I don't think it was going to keep his car from coming up off the ground. And it's so weird, too, that there's a crush area on the car, like on the side of the race car. It crushes easy. But then it's still stiff on the front and rear clips. It's not as stiff as what it was when the car debuted in 2022, because we had a couple guys get concussions that season, and we haven't had any since, what, 23 was the last time we saw a driver get a concussion, which was Kurt Busch, I think, when he had to retire, unfortunately. Actually, no, that was 22 when Busch got hurt. Yeah, there were a few drivers that had concussions that year then. Gosh, it's hard to believe it was that long ago already. I had to do a double take there. Nah. Didn't like that slide either. You have 25 laps to go this time by. I just feel bad that it was Ryan Preece again. I mean, you never want to see that happen to anybody anyway, but... Man, 2 times in the last 3 years. He's had some violent crashes, too. That's not even counting the Dega crash he had with Larson. And he got hit a ton by him. Or vice versa. Yeah, he hit head-on into Larson. Into his passenger door. It's only been the Fords that have flipped other than LaJoy. I think that's more of a... No, because Reddick is in a Toyota. And the Reddick and Buescher crash was pretty similar. I don't think that had to do much with the manufacturer of the car. The super speedway flips... Well, LaJoy flipped at Dega last year, too. I think that's more of a coincidental thing. Because the only super speedway crashes for Fords that somebody's got... Well, I guess Josh Berry last year, too. I forgot about that one. So you have 4 of them. You got Berry, Priest twice, and Harrison Burton in the 500 in 2022. Correct me if I'm wrong if I was missing any. But yeah, I think that's just more of a coincidental thing. Because the car, when the car's been flipping because of a, let's say, super speedway crash, for instance, a lot of the time we've seen those flips, there's a car kind of pushing it, and then it blows over because the air just gets trapped underneath the car. And we saw that with the Gen 6. Really, almost any generation of car, honestly. Gen 6 car tomorrow, without the wing, I mean, that's pretty much how we saw flips as well. In Gen 4, they had more blowovers from the rear, but the car sat up off the ground quite a bit. See, that's another thing, too. You take the flat underbody off of it, and I don't know that that's going to help keep the cars off the ground, too, because then the cars are just going to sit higher off the ground anyway. I don't think that the teams are going to be able to get them sealed down as low to the track. Like, you'd have to fundamentally redesign the car, I feel like. And being this many years in, we could be closer to a Gen 8 than what we were at the start of the Gen 7. We're in year 4 already, and the car tomorrow is only around from, part-time in 07, but full-time years, it was only around from 08 to 2012. It wasn't around very long. And then even the Gen 6 wasn't around, it was around 8 years. We could be halfway through the next gen already. Which is crazy because I feel like, it feels like just yesterday that car debuted at the end of 2021 when we got to see what the cars actually looked like. It's hard to believe it's been that long already. The COT did it from the rear when they had the wing. Once they went to the spoiler, the only time there was really ever a flip that I can recall is that Mark Martin one at Dega. Jeff Gordon had one too. At the in the Clash, I think that was 2012. Yeah, that was the one that Busch Wild Thing wins. Yeah, that was that race. And those were more blow over from the side like we saw at the Gen 6. But yeah, no, you're right with the blow over from the rear. with the spoiler on the car tomorrow. And those pretty much blew over from the rear about as regularly, if not more regularly, than the Gen 4 did. That was just because the wing was like a parachute. David Rudiman Watkins going, that was just because he hit so hard into the wall with so much G-force that it just toppled the car over. And he was getting hit by somebody else. Yeah, I actually forgot about that flip too. Yeah, that was an impactual flip. That was kind of like a Steve Park at Pocono kind of deal where he just hit hard and then tumbled it. Or a Park at Sonoma even too. Kind of the same thing. Quarter of a tank of gas left this point in the run. Only 12 laps to go. We're plenty good on fuel. I can't believe how much separation there is in the middle of the pack in particular. If you look at the track map on the upper right-hand corner of the screen, you got, looks like it's about a half a track of separation from cars just outside the top 10 and then the rest of the field. I mean, we're never going to keep the cars on the ground entirely. It's just never going to happen. Maybe 50 years from now. But nothing in the immediate future. I mean, it's just physics. I mean, you can only make the cars so heavy. I guess the heavier the car, the less likely it is to topple over. But then in the case of the next gen, maybe that's not the case. When you're going 190 plus miles an hour on all the tracks that we have had flips with this car, like even Charlotte and Vegas, although the flips didn't start at those speeds, those tracks are still fast enough at the end of a straightaway, even with the next gen, you're getting up over 190 miles an hour. So mid-slide, they're, built up to probably 170, 180, and then by the time they caught and toppled over, they were probably still going about 160 to 140 if I had to guess. Took almost the entirety of this green flag run, which would probably go down as the longest green flag run of the race, if it hasn't already. Last restarted just after lap 90. Still stuck at the 5 cautions. No way a car should be... That was basically an open wheel flip. What we saw out of Ryan Preece. One wheel hops over another. Those crashes have happened on shorter tracks with like the Gen 4. I can remember some short track races where something similar to that happened. Obviously not going at the speeds that Preece was going. I guess if you don't have the... I don't know what they could really do there. Like, what can you enforce into the, basically the side of the car? It's going to keep guys from doing that. Because Chastain did that at Texas in the All-Star race, too. And then he had Gibbs in the Clash just a couple of weeks ago under caution do the same thing. Those are the only instances I can think of where this car has done that. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. That's not up for me to decide. I really don't have any ideas. I mean, obviously they would have to put something sturdy that it wouldn't crush in that area as much. But he hit Bell so hard. I mean, Bell's car was slowed down quite a bit after he hit the outside wall before he got clipped by Priest, which basically took the foam off the door. And then that's where he ended up having the damage and the left front tire exposed for him to run over. And it was a wheel-to-wheel contact situation, which again is very normal for like open wheel racing. So I really don't know. I mean, maybe more like steel roll bars on the side, but I don't know how that would change the car aerodynamically and stuff, if that would be a reasonable fix. Like, I really don't know what they could do in this instance. I get you want to be proactive rather than reactive, and you don't want something like that to happen again, but I don't have any ideas for me personally. Like I said, though, I'm not crash testing these cars on a weekly basis like NASCAR would be. So they'd probably already have more of a fix for that than what I could ever think of. White flag in the air, final lap of the race. So we will end this thing on a little bit over a 60-lap green flag run to the checker. All 5 cautions just over the first half of the race. And Casey Kane is going to get his 4th win of the season. Power slides again through 3 and 4 there. 2 for 3 on the card tomorrow races. As Kane is a winner.
Enjoy that victory lap.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. 1.7 second margin of victory for Casey Kane. And we'll see if he can go back-to-back at Talladega. I have not won back-to-back races yet on this season, so we'll see if we can make it our first back-to-back. I need more room for the burnout. Keep hitting the walls on both sides of the racetrack on the front straightaway. I feel like the burnouts are like too easy on this game. Kind of spin the car pretty easily. Then it just feels like I'm out of control. Can't control where I'm going on my burnouts. Yeah, see, I kind of did it again. All right, that's enough. Half the burnout for half the race, I guess. Casey Kane with the win. Ryan Vickers in second. He really did have a quick car there from that last restart. Held on to second place. Mike Wallace ended up third. John Wood fourth. And Kyle Busch, with the severely torn up race car, was fifth. I'll tell you what, man. This race, or this game in particular, they produced some weird top tens on a pretty much racely and nightly basis for us. The only consistency is inconsistency with who's running up at the front every week. Tony Stewart 6th, Scott Riggs 7th, Jeff Green 8th, AJ Allmendinger 9th, so both Red Bull cars in the top 10. Denny Hamlin fell to 10th on that last run after restarting in second, and was in second under the first half of the race before the pit stops too, so they must have went the wrong way on an adjustment or something. So one of our teammates, again, Riggs in 7th. The other one, Elliott Sadler, let's see where he finished. He finished 34th, which I believe is the second straight finish outside the top 30 for Elliott. Quite a few cars finished on the lead lap, 42 of them. Only Dale Earnhardt Jr. didn't, and that's because he blew an engine at lap 51 after starting fifth. So tough break for him. He was running top 3 real early in the race, too. But didn't get to see the end. And obviously, with all the cautions, the way they laid it out, that's why we didn't end up getting any lap traffic. It's hard to come by in this game as it is. You have 5 cautions pretty evenly spaced out across the 156-mile race. And probably not going to see a lot of it. 12 lead changes, 106.93 mile per hour average race speed. Again, 1.7 second margin of victory. 1 hour, 27 minutes, 31 seconds. Total time on tonight's race. There's Casey. Yeah, celebrate with teammate Scott Riggs. Notice how their sponsors weren't on their cars? Or on their cars, on their driver uniforms. All right, full race Talladega tomorrow night, all 500 miles on the channel. Can't wait. Should be a good one. Aaron's $4.99. Our Daytona race was wild. I'm expecting a lot more of the same. Take a look at the point standings. 372 points ahead of Jimmy Johnson now. Extending that lead. We haven't finished outside the top 10 yet. We have 4 wins in the first 9 races, which I haven't won as many races as I did, say, on NASCAR 07 up to this point. But we're way more consistent. That, and I think a large part, not only I'm consistent with an average finish of 3.5, but also they're not consistently finishing up at the front of the field. Like Johnson won at Texas, but then he didn't even finish top 10 tonight. So, yeah, I mean, we've had that pretty much all season with a lot of different drivers. There's very few of them on this list that are consistently up there, and then when they are, they end up like blowing an engine or something in the next race. How about our teammate Elliott Sadler in 11th? That'd be cool if he gets into the chase. He's in right now. That's even with 2 straight finishes outside the top 30. That's what I mean. It's wide open. So got a lot of the regular season still to go. That's going to wrap up tonight's stream. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you have not done so yet. I will see you guys tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully I get off of work on time. Yeah, I was literally backed up at the gas station for like a half hour after work. So I got off a little late, and then that happened. I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely not going to be able to stream by 6. So that's why we ended up starting things about 15 minutes late tonight. But appreciate it, everybody. Have a good rest of your Tuesday, and see you for the Aaron's $4.99 tomorrow night.